Now, Peru is perhaps most famous for this icon of the Inca Empire, the Machu Picchu Trail. But the country is fast becoming celebrated for its cuisine. Lima, a restaurant in London, has just been awarded Europe's first Michelin star for a Peruvian restaurant. But how many of you have actually eaten Peruvian food, or know what it is? Well, in a moment I'll be speaking to the head chef and managing director of the restaurant. First, let's take a look at how you make one of the most popular Peruvian dishes, ceviche.
Okay, well, I'm going to show the traditional ceviche from Peru. It's basically prepared with the raw fish, and at this time we are going to use some sibling. I'm just going to show you a couple of the ingredients. We do have some limes, a little bit of chilies ready chopped, some ginger, some garlic. We have some beautiful Peruvian corn here. Some yellow chilies, also from Peru, that we use it here. I'm gonna briefly explain you is basically chop the celery, the garlic, the ginger, and blend it together. You can do it with fish stock, or you can do it with water. I get the stalks of the coriander and just turn them into pieces and add it into this mix and blend it all together. We leave it to marinate for around half an hour. Then we sieve it, then we pass it, and we ended up with a juice. So here is roughly the base that we do it. And to this base, I just add some limes. I cut small pieces, a little bit of salt. Yeah, no me des eso. A little bit of chili I put here. It's so simple, and I leave it for 2 minutes, serve it, and it's ready. This is the ceviche. Now I'll put on the plate. We have a Peruvian corn here. It's called panchita in Peru. It's very crispy, so this is added into the dish. Or we also serve it on the side in Peru, and this obviously gives the extra crunchiness and extra flavor to the dish. And this is the ceviche.
Feel hungry? I do. Robert Ortiz, the chief chef we saw there in the film, is with us in the studio, as well as Gabriel Gonzalez, the managing director of Lima. Both of you, first of all, fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You must feel very proud.
We are, yeah.
We are very proud indeed, yes.
How... I think a lot of people, you know, if you say name the top cuisines of the world, they'd say Italian, French, you know, whatever, maybe Thai, maybe Indian, maybe Chinese. But Peruvian food, it is the ultimate fusion cooking, isn't it?
Yeah, it is actually. It has been like a fusion for the last 500 years. It's fairly new in terms of popularity, because the boom or the evolution that's happening, it's fairly recent, 10, 15 years ago. So that's why we're just starting to hear about it.
And so tell me what we've got here on the table, which I have resisted until now touching it, and I don't know how much longer I'm going to last. Okay, so that is...
Here we have the tiraito scallops.
This looks like scallops, yes. So you've cut them very fine.
That's right, yes. We use a technique between sashimi and carpaccio. In Peru, we have a lot of influence of Japan, China, Asia, and Italy, quite a lot.
So that's interesting. So the Peruvian cooking has been born almost of the colonial legacy of the countries that have come to the country.
Yeah,
that's right.
What's interesting is that the Peruvians, what they have is they have taken the techniques and made them part of the cuisine. So there is how the Japanese treat the fish. So it's like a sashimi, more or less, like Chef Robert is saying.
Sashimi, so we do have a rocoto pepper, which is an icon in Peruvian cuisine. It's extremely hot, but here in the UK we have to blanch it 8 times in different changes of water.
Oh, really? To take, because it's too hot for...
It's too hot for the palate here in the UK. Even in Peru, but obviously we try to get the flavor of the pepper and remove the heat, basically.
Okay, I'm going to do what you should never do on television, which is I'm going to taste it. You just talk amongst yourself. So you use peppers, scallop, lime?
Lime, absolutely, yes. What we do, the base, when we do prepare a ceviche, we added the lime, the ginger, the coriander into the base that we make it from the rocoto pepper.
That is just sublime. That is just fantastic. Okay, now this is just, what is this, corn?
It is corn. We have quite a lot of different corns in Peru, but this one doesn't pop like a normal popcorn. It remains, how do you say, it does remain whole, yeah, and becomes crispy. And once you put it into a ceviche, or you can use it as a snack in a bar or anywhere you go, it gives you the extra bite, the crispiness of.
Yeah. Here in this case, we put in the ceviche to give some texture to the plate.
Right. Okay. I don't know whether I dare try that. I suspect if I eat crispy corn now, I may not be able to speak for the next 2 or 3 minutes, which probably may be a good thing, may be a bad thing. I'm going to avoid the temptation of that. Let's come to this dish here, because is that salmon in
It is organic salmon. We get it from Ireland. And again, we have, in Peru, we have red chiles, which is the rocoto, and we have a yellow chiles, we call it ají amarillo, which you find it all over the country. And we do the same, but it's not as spicy as the rocoto. It's just blanched like a normal vegetable and blended with olive oil. Sometimes we add a little bit of mayonnaise, and we make it into a sauce.
Okay, I'm going to try a little bit of this. Is it just Peruvian food in Latin America that is so good, or are you going to find the same in, you know?
I mean, I would say that there's a lot of interesting things happening in general for South American or Latin American cuisine. I would say the two countries are spearheading the whole.
That's got a little bite to it, hasn't it?
Tiny bit, yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Go on.
Yeah, no, I was saying that I would say that the two countries that are spearheading the gastronomic scene are Peru and Mexico. But yeah, there's several interesting proposals that are happening today in Argentina, Brazil, and everywhere, and even Bolivia as well.
And Gabriel, are you Peruvian? No.
No, I'm Venezuelan.
Right, so what's Venezuelan food like?
It's much simpler. We have good products. We have, we have a big coastline to the Caribbean in the north, but it's much more basic. Peruvians have a much more sophisticated cuisine, and that's hence the interest of opening a Peruvian restaurant with.
But what happened in Peru is that we have the region, we have the Amazon, we have the costa, which is very rich in fish, and we have the Andes now these days that we are bringing a lot of cereals. We have quinoa, different colors, yellow, red.
And quinoa has become incredibly popular as a food.
It is indeed. This is a superfood these days, and this is, it is easy to cook. Yeah, I believe it can even replace rice, in certain aspects of your diet.
Someone said to me there are a ridiculous number different types of potato in Peru. Is this correct?
It is indeed, yes.
How many different types?
Well, some people say 2,900 types. Some people is, thinking the less. But we in Peru, at the moment, we are using only around 25, 26 kinds of potatoes. But it depends on the region, and also it has lots of different colors.
And Gabriel, to be a successful restaurant in London, I mean, presumably there's a limited amount of food that you can import, fresh food from Peru itself. Are you trying to source most of the ingredients locally wherever possible? I noticed you said that the salmon was organic and Irish.
Right, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a good point. We bring or we source already in the UK, and we source also some products from Madrid. There's a big Peruvian community there. Say from the 300 ingredients that we use in the menu, 15 or 20 are Peruvians, but those are the ones that we showcase on the menu. And those are the ones that bring that Peruvianness, if you want to call it, flavors, Peruvian flavors to the food. So the chilies, the quinoa, the corn, but the rest are all...
Asparagus. Isn't asparagus a big
Yes,
Peruvian product?
Peruvian. Obviously, when there is a season here, which happens between May and June,
yeah.
we use as much local products as we can. That's the idea to... Let's say on a dish we have chilies that they have to be Peruvians because we cannot find it anywhere else. But the rest of the product, it has to be local. It has to be sourced locally as far as Spain, and sometimes, where we can get it.
Oh, I tell you what, I've just been told that we had to wind up, and I was going to say on camera, can we just keep this going until the end of the programme, frankly, because I'm happy discussing and tasting delicious food for a very long time. So you do have to source some of it from Peru. Where is your clientele from in your restaurant?
90% English, I would say.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So it's not for sort of Latin American exiles who want to get a little bit of taste of their continent. It's actually British
Yeah, I would say the Eritrean Europeans, yeah. And then, yeah, of course, some Latin Americans, but it's not the majority, no.
Right, and do you think there is the scope for this food to go across the rest of Europe and, you know, to open Peruvian restaurants wherever?
Yeah, definitely. So I think it's just the beginning of a big wave, hopefully. There's a few concepts that, you know, from fine dining to, you know, mid-segment and street food that have gone international. But I think there's plenty of more offerings within, you know, the whole scope of Peruvian gastronomy that can be very interesting to, you know, to export, basically.
And Robert, as head chef, the people that are coming up behind you, are they from Latin America, or are they kind of from all different places who want to learn about Latin American cuisine?
I think we look into have a mix of people. We do have a chef from Austria, from Spain, from Colombia. We have a couple of Peruvians, which, you know, they have the style of cooking of their mother, of their grandmother, you know, the flavors. Obviously, we need to be precise in what we want to bring it here. The idea is to have, obviously, a mix of people, mix of ideas, so we can actually bring everything together into a plate.
OK, Robert, Gabriel, thank you both very much indeed for being with us. Really good to talk to you. Let me just ask the editor, do you want me to throw this away or bring it up to the newsroom afterwards? Oh, up to the newsroom afterwards, yeah. Everyone in one voice.